I'm Trish Power Scott.
And I'm Lynn Loria.
Welcome to Two Cents of Sunshine. Today we are so excited to share with you the latest breaking news. The black box labels from hormone replacement therapy have been removed. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes. It is a huge day. It is a monumental change in the way women will be affected from this day forward.
And treated.
So excited.
Yes.
We actually had other topics to talk about today.
We're skipping them. It's so important.
It is so important, and it's definitely something that we hope that our viewers will get some good information, maybe be able to take that to your physicians, your doctors, to talk to other women.
What do I need? What does it look like? What are my symptoms? How should I feel?
So let's talk a little bit. I do know a little bit. Being married to a gynecologist, I have been fortunate enough to learn through him a little bit through the years. He's retired. He learned about menopause back in, I always like to say, the ancient times. I said that.
He'll kill you.
He's gonna kill me. But he learned a whole different set of rules for hormone replacement therapy. This black box warning was put on hormones because they really believed the studies that they were doing back then, which were not accurate studies, were causing heart problems, causing breast cancer, were causing all of these different, were causing dementia. Okay, and just wait for it. This black box warning got removed just the other day because it actually helps to prevent heart disease, Alzheimer's and dementia,
cancer,
bone loss, breast cancer. So all the things that they were taught,
it actually does the opposite.
So I'm truly glad for on many levels to be discussing it. I'm very, very passionate about it.
Yes.
If you talk to anyone I know, I'm very passionate about it. My husband, thankfully, was an advocate for hormone replacement therapy.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, it's at a time where it wasn't that acceptable.
Right.
It was there. You really needed it. That was the mindset. If you truly needed, and not just for symptoms, but symptoms that were, really, really bad or severe that you could not function daily. A doctor might consider it.
Yeah.
But with those black box warnings, they really didn't.
They really didn't. And we have a friend who's going to be a special guest next week for us to talk about this too. But she was saying when they went to medical school, there's this whole thing, that you learn in medical school, and then the menopause is like this big, because they didn't know enough about it, and they didn't research it, and they didn't, so your doctors they didn't have the education that they should have to be able to deal with this. But now the studies show that we do, and we're going to move forward.
And it would aggravate me on so many levels, but I found out a fun fact just the other day because, again, I love to learn. I love to hear. Let's take this in.
Yes.
But do you know that a woman who does not have estrogen replacement therapy, so that's by the time she's through menopause, okay? So, and I can explain the different stages of the perimenopause versus menopause. But by the time they're through menopause or to menopause, that they, in some research, have seen that women have less estrogen in their bodies than men.
Wow.
We all have the same pretty much hormones. They have levels of estrogen. We have levels of testosterone. Okay, so there used to be the mindset that women are built of estrogen, men are built of testosterone.
That's just not true.
But we have it all.
We have it all. Yeah. I feel lucky because I feel like I missed the boat on everything. After you have your children and all these great things come out to make them sleep, and you're like, well, if I had that when they were babies. Well, I feel lucky because I'm entering right into this zone here, right? I'm starting to feel symptoms, and it's like I got lucky on one. Yeah. Like now we're gonna have something to do something about it with.
Could not say that any better than that. Yeah. You truly are entering a time of, I hate to say, perimenopause because it was such a dreaded word until 2 days ago, and it's not anymore. It doesn't have to be. So I wanted to talk to you. You and I were talking, if you don't mind,
of course,
sharing before now some different symptoms that I was asking you about.
I know. Well, I'm frustrated, right? I mean, you can see it in this video. Look at my hair. I'm 41, and as we all know, I work out like a banshee, and I take care of myself. I eat right. I do the things right. I mean, am I perfect in every regard of eating and all that? No, but I'm good. I'm good. I don't drink I could count on one hand how many times a year I drink. And so I went to get my hair done on Friday, and my hair won't color. It wouldn't bleach. I mean, you put in bleach on my head and it won't color. It doesn't look the same color. And so we're trying to figure it out. And the girl doing my hair said, it's your hormones. And I'm like, what? And then I'm realizing as I'm going along the days, I'm tired. I'm more tired than I've ever been. I require so much more sleep. And that is not good for a person like me who has to go, 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 kids, jobs, things, podcasts, all the things I want to do in life. I don't have time to sleep. And my anxiousness is just off the charts right now. Like I can feel it. And I refuse to take anything for it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that's my take on it. And then I feel very agitated, impatient with my kids. I'm like, I am, me. I love my kids. I don't care. I'm really chill with them. And lately I'm just so agitated and impatient. And this is not me. This is not how I normally am. So I know it's here. And now I got to do something about it.
Yeah. And those symptoms are not in your head.
No.
I'm glad you're not thinking of just going on an SSRI. That's what we call like Zoloft.
Right. Antidepressant, anti-anxiety.
Most people do start with that.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, that.
Well, there wasn't another option.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Help was not available, or a person's GYN was not willing to go against that black box warning, which I completely understand.
Yep.
So that was the mindset, go on an SSRI. And that's not necessarily a horrible idea, but we're not taking care of the problem. We're just covering it up. Okay.
So I look at that as this. So obviously at this point I have a chemical imbalance, right? Like everything's shifting, I'm changing, and now I have a chemical imbalance. So what we need to do is get me back to what am I missing that's going to make me feel whole again in hormone replacement, right? We're going to put it back. But the SSRIs and the anti-anxieties and the antidepressants, those are Band-Aids. So they're creating other issues also while you're taking them. So you're taking all these other things that actually aren't dealing with the original problem. They're Band-Aiding what you currently have and then adding other issues on.
For sure.
That is my issue with them.
Right.
And why I don't want to.
And a lot of different you mentioned probably, 5 perimenopausal symptoms.
Right.
And there are literally 50, if not greater.
Yeah.
Okay. So weight gain is one.
Yeah.
People will all of a sudden put the midsection.
Yeah. I've had lots of people tell me about that are slightly older than me.
Absolutely.
So I'll be 42 in January, but they're more toward the end of the 40s is where I see that becoming, obviously because I'm in the gym environment. So I have people coming to me all the time, what do I do about this?
And they can't do anything.
And it's not anything you've done. Right.
So now you add an SSRI. Example again of an SSRI is that antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication, Zoloft, Lexapro, Prozac.
Right.
They cause weight gain.
They cause more weight gain.
so now person's even, they're feeling depression from the loss of hormones. They're feeling depression from, putting maybe a negative body image.
Yep.
And they're putting the Band-Aid on. They're not fixing the problem. I went through, I will not give my age.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it. But I went through a hysterectomy that put me into
full-blown menopause.
Almost like our special guest, but a little different. She was a little younger, I believe, much younger, I think. But it did throw me into these menopausal symptoms.
And from 0 to 100, not gradual.
It was not gradual. It was I always tell I work with a lot of postpartum clients that just had a baby, and I'll tell them, they took 9 months to build a baby with the hormones changing, and the day they have a baby, those hormones just drop.
They bottom out. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of,
and we know I experienced that. We talked about it, and I couldn't comprehend what was happening. And I only had it for one of my children. I think that's important to know. Just because you don't have it with one doesn't mean you don't have it with the other, or vice versa. Right. I had 3 babies, and I only had postpartum with one.
Yes, you're very different.
Yeah, very, very different. And so I didn't know what was happening.
No, and that's so scary.
Gosh, it was petrifying.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when I went to the surgical menopause, it was terrifying. I woke up and I'm like, so all of a sudden I have all these symptoms, and I have a history of anxiety. My anxiety just went to
elevated
100. I never had depression, thank God. I didn't have to deal with that. All of a sudden I had some depression. The weight gain was crazy. The being lethargic, the brain fog was crazy.
And this was right after as soon as you get out of surgery, day 1.
Crazy.
Like it just
so
started.
When you're doing that and then you don't have this help, and again, thankfully I'm married to a person who had the mindset to know what to do.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I was very fortunate with that.
Did you start hormone replacement
immediately? Well, what I did, this was, oh my gosh, 2017.
Okay, so 8 years ago-ish. And that was really unaccepted.
Almost 9 years ago,
at that point. So the last couple of years it's become a little bit more accepted on the black market, I guess.
Yes.
But that was very, very unaccepted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I did, Trish, was I started first. He didn't put me on, but he had recommended talking to my doctor about estrogen only. So I did that.
Yep.
And I started it, and I'm glad I did that, because what happened was I started the estrogen. It helped me to remove a lot of the bad feelings I was having. I was sleeping a little better, but still things were just not
right.
Little fun fact, a lot of people would not be put on progesterone when they were put on estrogen. And I know I'm giving a lot of information here because you only truly need progesterone. Okay, this is the mindset. Keep in mind, if you had a uterus. If you didn't have a uterus, you didn't need progesterone.
Okay.
So that's why I was only
That was the mindset.
That was the research. You don't need it.
Yep.
Right? Yep. So maybe about 3 years ago, I was having horrible brain fog. I could not sleep. The insomnia was real, and I need a little sleep to function.
Oh yes, me too.
A lot of different symptoms. Yes. So then they added on the progesterone, my doctor, and I'm like, what? It was like literally just waking up again, sleeping, brain fog was gone. I was able to function with progesterone. So now I'm seeing that I need the estrogen, the progesterone. And I think it was last year maybe, I was just, again, with the little bit of the brain fog and a little bit of just not seeing clearly. Testosterone. I was put on a testosterone gel. A lot of people will use, I don't know, I know there's not patches, I think pellets.
There's pellets that get in
different ways.
They distribute evenly. The time distributed. I forget what that's called exactly. But
I started the androgel.
Yep, I take it too.
Okay.
Yeah, where you click it up and you put it behind your knee.
And I saw something yesterday that just explained it perfectly. It was like it was like the scene from Wizard of Oz. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Where you're in black and white and all of a sudden it's color. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Tone helped me also with the working out and the muscle mass and the bone. You know, it just builds stronger bones. It helps with that brain fog. So we are built of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. So to be able to incorporate all of those, you will feel like yourself again. And every woman deserves to feel like that because it is the most depressing feeling when people kind of put an expiration date on you once you're in perimenopause or menopause. You're pushed to the side.
Yeah.
And that's
well, it's because they didn't know what to do, right? Nobody knew what to do with us at that point. Again, I'm feeling so grateful that not to put that down for you, but so grateful that I get to have an answer. Someone recently said, and this is a little joke, I'm just kidding, but said that if this were men going through these symptoms, it would have been figured out 100 years ago.
It was research. If they have some kind of problem, it takes 6 months to get that research done.
We would have been suffering for decades and decades of menopause symptoms.
You're not joking about that. It is true.
I'm not joking.
And that is what irritated me. Can I please tell you right now, I pay probably one of the highest premiums, that is a whole other topic, of my insurance. And can I tell you, and I don't know how it's going to change, but up until last month, my estrogen is full price.
Oh, gosh.
And my testosterone is full price.
I pay for testosterone
as
well.
That is unacceptable.
No.
When Viagra
is
covered by insurance. And that's not even a medical problem. I'm like...
Yeah, solid point. That's kind of like, it's almost like a hobby.
What are you talking about? It's not even...
Wow.
So women have been going into struggling like I was with the testosterone, going into their doctor saying, not that they have a low libido, which is a legitimate, some people want to still be intimate with their partners.
It's a huge part of your relationship.
But they'd have to go in and say that to get something ordered, because you just can't say, I have brain fog. I don't feel well. I don't feel well. They're not writing the prescription.
I do know. I have other friends that are taking it that have been prescribed recently, and they are covering it. Insurance is covering it. The progesterone and the estrogen.
Yes, the progesterone and estrogen, yes. Estrogen cream, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
that's a whole other, if you want to talk, talk about it, we can talk about it.
So let's go back to my hair problem. So, so my hair changes colors. I really hate it. If anybody wants to feel bad for me, go ahead.
I'm just pretty. I'm not feeling bad for you because it's beautiful. But I know
like it. But, so say, my hormones must have shifted, right? But I got my hair done, I don't know, 5 weeks ago. Same thing I've been doing for 10 years. And it was fine. So in that 5 weeks, I had that much of a shift. But I'll tell you, I do feel that much more anxious and I do feel that much more irritable. So did I just have some sort of shift?
Another thing that, I'm going to say this,
you don't have to sugarcoat it.
Sam's going to be able to, Sam's going to be able to,
she's coming. It's a surprise.
She'll be here, to be able to explain this much better medically. But I have a lot of clients, and this is a whole other, I could spend hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have, excuse me, I'm going to just shut that. They would come to me and they say their GYN would do blood work before they put them on. And their blood work's fine. They don't need it. And I'm like, no.
Okay, so that's interesting. So your blood work's not showing low, or it's just showing within the range?
2 reasons.
Okay.
The first reason is, and I learned this through my husband, so I'm not just trying to make this up.
Yeah.
We don't know a person's baseline. My baseline for testosterone
Interesting.
when I was 20 could be 10 points higher than yours was at 20.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
So now, if they're taking it at my young age, at my young age, it might look different.
Right.
Okay.
So
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because, and that's the thing about medical doctors going through med school, right?
Mhm.
Everything's within a range.
Right.
And if you fall within this range, then you're fine.
Yeah.
And so when I originally had gone for testosterone, when they tested the metabolic whole panel that they did, every single thing I had was on the low end, but I was still within the range. And so
Exactly.
I went to a more naturalistic doctor, and she said, no, you are within the range, so you're all right, but this is why you feel tired, this is why your hair's falling out, this is why you're lacking, your iron is low. So they put me on testosterone because I was still within the ranges, but I was low. That's not considered, those ranges don't consider age ever.
No. And another thing it doesn't consider is that they'd have to almost do blood work 30 days in a row every day because your hormones
fluctuate. So she
even
did do that. So I had to go, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like 2 days before my period,
Yes.
and then I had to go 2 days into my period or something like this, because in the change was crazy.
I'm glad they did that. Yeah, but the doctors that have been, educated years ago, we'll say that for lack of better words, they just do a single blood test.
Not realizing.
They're not understanding, or they are understanding. And maybe it could be that insurance won't cover another blood test. Maybe it'll be that they're just, it's not reasonable to be taking so many blood tests, but it is because it's going to show a chart, right? It's going to show, but again, we don't know everyone's baseline when they were in their 20s.
So how do we find the baseline?
You don't. You have to go by, so you scratch the blood work. Now that the black box warning has been removed, you go by a woman's symptoms. If she's experiencing symptoms and you know that this person, and I have so many people that come into me, so many women, especially your age, couple years younger, couple years older, and they're like, I've never had anxiety. I've never had depression. I don't know what's going on with me. My marriage is suffering because I hate my husband, and he has
Luckily, I don't have
all,
that,
right? I just look at him and I'm like, you're annoying me. So if there's not been a problem before and there's nothing specific going on, that is one of the first things I will send them to do, is to go talk to their GYN.
Okay.
I will rule out everything, emotionally, mentally, however I can. But then I'm sending them to the doctor for the physical. And I probably 9 times out of 10 do that.
That's amazing.
And 9 times out of 10, they come back with a hormone, issue, concern, a thyroid problem. There's so much with our internal makeup that does obviously create problems or situations emotionally, mentally. So I always want to be clear, if someone has a history of anxiety and maybe it's creeped up in their 40s, it still is probably a hormone.
Could it be a hormone balance from the gate? I mean, if we're getting periods at how old are kids now, 14, 15, you're already changing your hormones. Could it be a hormone issue out of a small human and that we just didn't realize? So, I mean, this is a whole new world, right, for everybody, because I cannot tell you, and this is going to be a whole nother episode because I feel so passionately about this one.
So many.
I cannot tell you how many parents have come to me and told me, or we just having conversations with other moms, and these kids that are athletes, and my boys are all athletes, so we're always talking to sports moms, how many children experience anxiety. And I will tell you, there's a direct correlation with the sports moms and the kids. They're generally better. They don't have as much trouble focusing. They don't have as much ADHD. They don't have as much anxiety. They're doing better than the kids who don't. But it's a real thing. What if they actually just need it? What if they're chemically imbalanced when they start at that age? I mean,
such a good point too, because a lot of when I don't treat as many kids since COVID, pre-COVID I did, post-COVID I didn't, different reasons, medically for my husband who know me know he's sick. So I had to keep the germs. But I love working with children, and I would notice a trend of young girls coming to me starting with anxiety, and I could always pinpoint they were between 10 and 13
about to get their period,
and that was what was happening. And I'm not saying by any means because nature versus nurture,
correct,
what's happening in life versus how we are built, but there are a lot of things are induced, say that. Okay. So someone might be having a problem at home or socially or in school or with a friend, but it can certainly be induced quite a bit with that hormone fluctuation of getting their first menstruation coming up. Then we have every month a person's cycle, a lot of them are having severe depression and severe anxiety where they can't even function. So
just during that
time where I'm treating them, then there's, the postpartum depression. It's a real thing.
Oh gosh. I think that I experienced that. If you know me, I'm like a God person. I think that I experienced that because God wanted me to be able to talk about it, because I could not for the life of me understand it unless I experienced it. And I think I had it very mild in comparison to other people. I really had that one fleeting thought that was like so wacky and out there. And then I was like, what just happened? And then that kind of like shocked me, but you were so out of control of it. And the fact that I had enough control and I had enough mental capacity left to do something about it immediately was great. But like, I really think that I experienced that to share, because I don't think if you've never experienced that you can explain it. Like it's like you said, it's like you're watching TV and a commercial pops on and it's not even your own brain filtering that. It just was like this thought that came out of absolutely nowhere. It was wild.
It is.
It was wild.
And to that point, I always like to say, when that, I feel like there's this little real you, the real Trish, the real one, buried deep inside. And you're just acting like all kinds of emotion.
It was
you're
just,
depressed. You're crying. You're screaming. You're throwing things. You are just like saying things to the kids and that. And you're like, but then there's the real you, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Are you doing?
So that's the thing. I didn't even have all of that either. I just had like these random weird thoughts that would come in that would scare the living bejesus out of me. And then I was like,
thoughts,
like that. But with the kids, this is my thing about having children. It is our job as parents to give them the tools to go deal with those things. So if they're having anxiety because they don't want to go to school because they feel uncomfortable around social situations, or they can't focus at their desk, or other kids are bothering them, or they don't feel confident, it's our job to give them those tools. So if it is in fact, a hormonal imbalance, then we have some sort of answer, but we also have to talk to them. We can't, and this is my thing about the meds. Again, you throw a med at them and you're creating other problems, you're band-aiding it. It's not a medication answer. It's give them the tools to deal with it, because it's going to happen for the rest of their lives. What are they going to do in a job interview before they go and they feel uncomfortable? Of course you feel uncomfortable. You're anxious because you want a job. You're anxious because you don't know if you're good enough. So now you instead of, I'm going to pop something. No. I was taught not me. I'm just saying I was, but you're going to handle it. And this is how you control it. This is how you get inside your own mental and help yourself, giving them the tools.
Absolutely. So this is just a small part. Our hormones, our chemicals, our thing, our makeup internally, those imbalances are just a little piece of the puzzle of how we get through and we cope. So obviously, as a therapist, finding that therapist who can be objective. If you need to figure out, so talk therapy, talking to a therapist, learning I said we're all puzzles. We are all different puzzles with different pieces and different coping skills that we need. So being able to talk, being able to use those coping skills, have them, implement them in our daily life, and to be able to just understand that we are complex, but we are able to walk through this life and do it in the healthiest way possible. So in saying that, I know that our episode flew by today. And I know we could keep talking for hours.
Keep going and going.
Yeah, and we will continue. Please give us feedback if you would like us to continue talking about.
And if there's any specific topics, like I'm dealing with this, let us help you. I mean, we have the gift of someone, a licensed therapist, to help us, right? Cool. I'll do my best. I'm just a mom over here getting through just like you. I'm getting through just like everybody else, but it's tough. But we're so excited. We're so excited at our news of our black box label removed. And if you have any more questions about that, let us know. I'll happily answer any of my symptoms on my hotness.
You're walking through it, so we can do.
Yes, I'm literally in the beginning phases of it. So if you're like, is this normal? Should I have this? Ask. I mean, I'm an open book. I have no shame in sharing anything.
And again, I am hoping it'll be next week or our next episode that we will include our specialist, Sam, here with us. And
you're going to love her.
You will love her.
Love her.
We love her. And she is a wealth of knowledge. She has walked the walk. She can talk the talk. She is educated in it, and we are grateful and proud to call her friend and to have her.
So now you can go take all this information and go down the wormhole. I'm just kidding. And come back with your questions.
Absolutely.
All right. We will see you next week with our specialist.
Thanks so much.